Good morning. It's Miriam from Redemption Mamas. I'm back again after a week of breaking my toe. Not a very pleasant experience, but I managed to drop my water bottle on it and wow, it smashed my toe. So I'm back after a bit of a break. My apologies for the sudden break in transmission there. Sorry, I always have to try and set up two things at once here. So I'm very glad to be back. I'm very grateful to be able to share with you some of my passion and heart for women. I have been pondering for some time now the concept of nurture. You know, how do we nurture? And so I'm going to share with you about Mary, quite contrary. Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row. This has just been such a curious concept to me over the last year, that how does a contrary Mary grow a beautiful garden? How can that even be possible? How does contrary Mary, with all her contrariness, all her ways of weirdness, rebellion, whatever, as other people look on at her and see her and think, well, she's right off the track, right off the path. And yet, Mary, quite contrary, grows a beautiful garden. Well, I'm Miriam, close to Mary. I think Mary is actually probably a pseudonym for me. And I have just been so challenged by the concept of nurture, that when we nurture our heart, something beautiful can grow out of our contrariness. And that's been my story. And I want to talk a little bit about that journey and that story today. Because today, while I still have contrariness inside of me, you know, those bits that aren't quite aligned with everything that needs to line up and be as I would like it to be, I have been growing a garden. And overall, it's quite beautiful. I'm quite stunned by the results and how my garden has been turning out. So my heart, my passion, I'm Miriam Snout, founder and creator of Redemption Mamas, a place where I've been organically just blessed to be able to get in and nurture myself. But then out of that has sprung a beautiful opportunity of working with women and nurturing women on their heart journey. So I didn't understand the importance of the heart. I didn't have any concept of why things were as they were. But I want to share with you why I've become so passionate about this heart healing journey, about women having a healed and whole heart, about the restoration of their heart, a heart that can be restored. I have a fly chasing around here. A heart that can be restored. I'm so fascinated that when I get on to do these things, something like this happens, but I'm going to press on. So there were many times in my own life that I just despaired in the situations and the circumstances that I found myself in, with a heart that had been broken by relationships, by situations, by circumstances, by disappointments, by financial stress and strain. These situations left me feeling like I'm just never going to find joy again. I felt quite depressed. I lived very depressed and broken, and I couldn't see how it was possible in any way, shape, or form to find my way out of that. My chaotic feelings prevented me from living on a steady path. I was up and down all over the place, and it became such a broken place to live from that I really truly didn't see how I was going to find my way out or into any sort of normal. The many tears I cried, the many prayers I prayed, the cries for help that I made, they often seemed to just fall like on deaf ears, as though no one cared, not even God cared or understood, or could offer to help me and help me find a way back to even some sort of normalcy. I was sinking in the demand of 5 children who I dearly loved and with all my heart wanted to nurture in the very best possible way I could. I had a very fragile marriage. I had expectations around me that were causing me to be challenged beyond what I was able. Life was just too much. And this restoration of my heart was far from my mind, far from a concept that I even could bring myself to imagine. Deep down, I thought I could manage. I hoped I could manage, but I wasn't. So sadly, it took me to sinking to the depths of everything, of my depression, to such a low place emotionally, spiritually, in every way, before I could really hear the wake-up call. The wake-up call sounded like this. When you're trapped in a dark place, in a dark tunnel, in a space where, black hole, where you can't see any light, you lose hope, you lose faith, you lose yourself. And so the wake-up call became my heart crying out, screaming at me like, get sorted, do something about this. But of course, when you're in that darkness, it's very difficult to see where there is any way out, forward, in, through, whatever. Yeah, it was a journey of 10 years or so that of five years of darkness, and then a little bit longer of just navigating my way through. My way through became the way of the heart, the way of heart healing, the way of bringing my heart and listening to my heart, of presenting myself to hear and see and let my heart speak. For all my life, growing up in a home and a family where you don't listen to your heart, you just get on with it. You push emotions down, you don't process them. That was all I knew. What I didn't understand then was that there's some truth in this saying that the heart is deceitful and corrupt, and who can know it? I did not know my heart. I did not understand my heart. I did not have any real true connection with my heart. But over the journey now, several decades of my own heart healing journey, which I will say I'm still on and always going to be because it's become such a passion. I've been blessed to work with women, mentor women, and cheer them on as a mentor as they pursue their heart healing journey. The heart is the control center of our being. It's the very place where everything flows. The issues of life flow from the heart. And when those issues are ugly and dark, it's a reflection of what's happening in our heart. That's not to condemn. It's just the truth. When there's at the control center, when there's darkness and blockages, then we can't ever expect to have a different result, a different reveal of life before us. Our heart controls our reactions, it controls our thoughts, it controls our behaviors, it controls us. It's the control center of our lives. And out of that control center flow the issues of our life. What do I mean by that? I just mean that I didn't know my heart. And so out of my heart was flowing crap and darkness, anger, bitterness, unforgiveness, resentment, all sorts of negative stuff that just became murky, muddy, messy waters that I couldn't seem to navigate my way through. And who can? It's a mess. It's a mire. It's disgusting. And it was. You know, I didn't know my heart. I didn't understand my heart. And I wasn't aware, even aware of the state my heart was in. It was only as I started a journey, thankfully, through seeing others who had made some changes in their own life that were in similar situations to me, large families, fragile marriages, family expectations and demands that became very difficult to meet. All the conflicts, all the contrasts of, you know, the darkness I felt, but the desire to just be able to be free of that. I didn't understand. I didn't know my heart. So on this journey, I've learned a very powerful thing, that when you nurture your heart, when you really, truly set aside time to nurture your heart, something beautiful can grow out of our contrariness, like Mary. Mary, quite contrary. How does your garden grow? How did she grow a beautiful garden with silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row? Seriously, how does Mary grow anything out of the contrariness that others perceived, that maybe she perceived, that was evident in her life? How did she create something beautiful? She nurtured. She nurtured her garden, and her garden became the very place that she put her hands to bring something beautiful out of her contrariness. And that's the journey that I have been on, and the journey that I'm so passionate for others to experience as well. When we start to nurture ourselves, our heart, you know, we can nurture our bodies, we can go to the spas, we can get the nails done, we can get the hair done. All of those things are nice, but they're not lasting. They've got to keep doing them over and over and over. They're external things. But when we nurture the inside of us, the inside, the heart, that is when we start to see incredible, beautiful things start to flourish in our life. So for me, the nurture of my heart became a journey with some women and with mentors who were able to help me understand that actually, no, I wasn't created an angry person. I wasn't created a negative person. I wasn't created a nasty person, which is how I saw myself because I was those things. In fact, those things were just the dark spots on my heart that had become, unfortunately, more of a reflection of me than they should have. It was not the truth of who I was. It was not the truth of how I'd been created to be. But I started to believe that that was me. I was just this nasty, mean, hurtful person that couldn't get over the betrayal, get over the pain. I was just living in a dark place, and I stayed stuck there for quite some time until it just got too much. And it's interesting that our lives will find that tipping point of where we know we've got to do something. We've got to do something. And I went down some dark pathways of thinking about taking my life, getting myself out of the space because who cared anyway? And thank God, I'm very grateful that those things never came to fruition because now I'm living in a completely different space for which I'm so grateful and so blessed and so excited. Do you know, our heart is deceitful. It tells us lies. It tells us lies because when there is this unhealed, unresolved pieces inside of our heart, it dictates, it drives, it's the control center. It tells us this is how you should respond. You should hit back, you should be nasty back, you should hate that person, never forgive them. And out of the heart flow the issues that we have of our life. And we haven't been taught, I wasn't taught, how to pay attention to what was going on around me. Instead, I pointed the finger at that person and you and him and her. They were the ones that were causing me to be fragile, causing me to be dark. And so I externalized it again. I was looking at the outside things, people. It's the inside. I had to turn and look at the inside of me, of my heart. So when I learned how I could nurture my heart, that something beautiful could grow out of my contrariness, out of my rebellion, out of my meanness, out of my darkness that I had found myself in, particularly deep, dark depression. Then things started to change and flow from my heart that were a whole new and different story. You know, our heart controls our reactions, our heart controls our thoughts, it controls our behaviors. It is the control center of our being. But I didn't know my heart and I didn't understand my heart. And I was just not aware of even what the state of my heart. I just didn't understand the darkness that was there. Some time ago, as I was studying my heart and came across the saying that the heart is deceitful and corrupt above all things, I've found this particularly disconcerting because if my heart is deceitful and corrupt, how am I ever going to forge a pathway that will bring about a beautiful garden? How am I ever going to be able to nurture it so that my garden flourishes like Mary, Mary, quite contrary? How did her garden grow so beautiful? Pretty maids all in a row, silver bells, cockle shells. How did her garden grow so beautiful when she was contrary? She was a Mary, Mary, quite contrary. And that was such a reflection of where I felt I'd landed as well. So I started to study this word deceit, and I love to go back to the ancient languages because the English doesn't really truly reflect the depth of meaning of some of these words. And so I went back and had a look at what does this word deceit mean? Because if that's it, if my heart's deceitful and corrupt and that's it, then what's the point? What's the point of even pursuing anything of healing, anything of wholeness, anything to change? So interestingly for me, this word had three elements or three letters that frame up the meaning of the word. First was the letter P, which is the mouth. That's like that. It looks a bit like that. As I investigated and studied what this meant, it really pointed to the questions we ask ourselves. What questions had I asked myself? What questions was I asking? And I was quite surprised. I wasn't asking questions at all. I was just making bland statements like, I'm never going to be, really dark sort of stuff was coming out of my mouth. When we are curious and we ask questions, we give ourselves permission to explore and to pursue and to take action about our situation. And so that became a pathway for me of getting curious and asking questions like, even, am I never going to be able to change? Am I always going to be stuck here? So instead of just pointing and living out of the darkness, I had started to ask questions. It was intriguing to me that as I started to ask questions, I became aware of the next part of this meaning of this word, deceit, which is the letter Tav, which is a cross. And that represents a covenant. It represents some sort of a connection, some sort of a commitment, some sort of a promise that we've made to ourselves. The covenant, what covenants had I made with myself? I'd made covenants like, I'm never going to change. I'm just always going to be stuck here. So, in my curiosity and my opening up my mouth to ask questions, the, the, the covenants that I was making were not truth, they were lies. And the last part of this word is the letter a yod, which is hands that sort of take you off in a pathway. When we get curious and ask questions, and we're not in a covenant of truth, we're going to be taken off on pathways and directions that truly do not serve us well. And that was my experience. I had gone in pathways that were destructive, pathways that were not bringing life, were not bringing me into the light. So it's true that the heart can be like this, but it can also be beautiful when we get curious and we start to align ourselves with truth of who we truly are, who we've been created to be. Then we'll go off in different pathways, in pathways that bring about beautiful fruit, beautiful life, beautiful gardens. So Mary, Mary, Quite Contrary is a theme for the book that I'm currently producing, which is about the restoration of a heart of a woman. I'm so passionate that women, we can see our hearts healed and whole. We can see our hearts restored. We can work from a heart that has been brought into line with truth. We can always be curious, and curiosity and asking questions for me is the absolute key to walking towards healed and whole heart. And we ask questions, we'll be able to see, where am I walking in covenant with truth and where am I walking in covenant with lies? Walked in covenant with lies, I would never person negative is mirror that just pull herself out of the dark hole. These were the things that I was in agreement with. And when you've walked that path for quite some time and it really truly becomes the control center of your being, it takes a dive into healing. I tried counseling, I tried therapy, I tried these things that I thought would help me. And while they kind of did, but never brought me the freedom that my heart was so hungry for, so hungry for. So asking questions and getting curious, coming out of covenant with lies and into covenant with truth, it started to take me off in completely different directions. I started to see some good things happening in my mothering. Ha moment, like nurture your own garden. And it's amazing how your own garden of yours is absolutely stunning, how the garden grows and flourishes in other areas of your life as well. And I saw that start to happen. I saw the garden start to grow. I saw my marriage start to come back from so fragile and numerous times thinking that was the end of the road and we couldn't find a way forward together. Now we're living in an incredible relationship of love, respect. I'm stunned at how my garden is pretty maids all in a row, silver bells and cockle shells lining up, only because this Mary, quite contrary, decided to face some of the contrariness in my heart, some of the parts of me that were broken, that were deceitful, that were not that I was living in agreement with lies. And I didn't see it and I didn't understand it. And it took some time for me to really dive in and get to the bottom of what some of those lies were. This word deceitful just revealed a deeper meaning. Deceit revealed a deeper meaning, the depth of that Hebrew language that brings out meaning that's rich and revelatory was for me to see that if I ask questions, that's not that's not wrong. That's really healthy. When I wasn't asking questions, I was just stuck in the deep dark hole. I was stuck in the tunnel. I was stuck not knowing how or where I could go to see even a little bit of light in my circumstances and in my life. I started to ask questions because I got desperate enough. I got broken enough. I got to the end of myself. And as I started to ask these questions, it began to reveal to me where I had made covenant with things that were not true. Things like, I'll always be an angry person. I was just made an angry person. It's my personality. My mother was angry. I'm angry. There you go, it's genetic. I want to challenge that thought. I want to challenge those thoughts that we are passed down. While there is some element of truth in that, we don't have to embrace it. We don't have to accept it. We don't have to agree with it. And so breaking the cycles, breaking the patterns, bringing my heart into alignment with my spirit started to produce a beautiful garden. I had started to come across some strategies to nurture myself, and I'm so grateful that they continue to unfold. The latest wonderful support for me has become breathing, and I'll share a bit about that after towards the end of our time. There's so many things out there that can support and help us while we might not find total healing in those things. They just stop. They put a bit of a plug on the drain of life and the drain that can happen for us in our control center, in our heart. So as my heart I was starting to find healing, get revelation about some of the lies I'd believed, get myself aligned with the truth and coming out of agreement with those lies, just purely by getting curious, purely by asking questions and wondering, is there not something else that I can find to support me? I found many things along the way for which I'm truly, truly grateful. And today I fall back to those things when, my circumstances change, the seasons of life, they come and they go. And I'm in a new season now that presents me with many new challenges that I haven't actually experienced before. So I've got to go back and dig up some of those strategies, and I call it the toolkit for heart healing, the toolkit for, when you don't know what to do. It's a really horrible, horrible place to be. And I didn't know what to do. I was desperate, but I'm so, so grateful that over time I was opened up because I got curious. I started to ask the questions, my mouth started to ask the questions. And just in asking the questions, you start to open up doors that will bring answers, that will help, that will bring the light into your darkness. For that, I'm so, so grateful. And so today, quite organically, I have had wonderful opportunities to mentor other women and work alongside of them. I have mentors in my life still today, precious people that help me to stay on track, because our heart is deceitful. Our heart does sometimes want to trick us. And Who can tell? When do we know? Without having some accountability in our life, without having some support, without having others in our life that can call us to account, call us back into that covenant of truth, that covenant agreement with truth. When we do that, our heart can be strong, it can be healthy, it can be light and radiant and producing something of beauty. My garden continues to grow. It grows in different places, in different ways. I need different fertilizer, I need different strategies. It's always a growing, enlarging the capacity of my heart to bring in the wholeness and the healing. I'm still amazed. Yesterday, I had a beautiful session with one of my mentors, and some things were revealed that, quite frankly, I hadn't seen. And as we asked questions and got curious about some of the reasons why, I was asking questions, I was curious about why this? Why am I stuck here? Why am I stuck there? Why am I not able to flourish in some of these places? As I got curious and asked these questions, the revelation came where I was out of covenant. I was out of line, out of truth. And I could see where it had taken, the hands had taken me down a path that was not serving me well. And so bringing it back, coming out of agreement with the lies, lining up with the truth, huge. I can't even, I haven't even got words, but I have experienced this numerous times now. And I love it when I'm working with women and they experience that same thing, a lifting off of that heavy cloak that keeps us in that contained place. Your garden can grow. Doesn't matter what contrariness, doesn't matter how deep the contrariness is rooted inside of us. It doesn't matter how difficult it is to break away and break out of agreement with it. It can happen. It has happened for me and many others that I've worked with over these years. So I'm excited for my nurture book to come out. It's taking a little while because I'm moving and I break my toe and then I break my rib and oh my gosh, gotta stop being so adventurous perhaps. But no, that is definitely not something I want to come in agreement with. No, I cancel those words. And so I've learnt to be more careful with my words. I've learnt to be more careful with what I say, and as my heart desires to live in health, to be in health, like healthy, grounded, purposeful, seeing a beautiful garden flourish like Mary. Mary, she was quite contrary. How could her garden possibly grow so beautiful? To be so contrary and yet be growing a beautiful garden. That has been the challenge to me, to dive into what does it take? What does it take to grow a beautiful garden when all that contrariness for me was very laying very deeply and darkly secured in my heart. So now I know to nurture my heart. And as we nurture our hearts, something beautiful can grow out of our contrariness. That contrariness can be completely transformed. Such a beautiful transformation from the depression I was in to now the life that I can live today. Flourishing, productive, blessed. And I'm so grateful because with the nurture that I've learnt to give myself on the inside, that's been the transformational piece. Yes, I still love to have my hair done. I still love to have a massage. I still love to get my nails done. I still love those things. And they do make us feel great, but they're not transformational. It's the inside. It's getting into the inner being, to the control center, to the heart. The heart controls everything. It controls everything about us. So when we nurture our hearts, something beautiful can grow out of our contrariness. And if that's your desire and that's something you're interested in, then feel free to reach out. I am very close. I've been saying this for a few months now, but I am close to starting a group and maybe transitioning from these workshops to actually running a group for women that are really wanting to run this journey, run into this space of heart healing, run into growing and understanding ways they can nurture their own heart, because I'm so passionate about this. And I wanted to share that today. I wanted to share why I've become so passionate about heart healing, about a woman's heart being restored. Because while my heart was broken and while my heart was completely shut down, I was not growing anything that was beautiful. No pretty maids in a row, no silver bells or cockle shells. It was ugly, and it was only serving to be more and more discouraging and depressing. So I wanted to share that it's in curiosity, it's in opening up our mouth, opening up and asking questions. Start to say, and mine were basic questions like, am I never going to be able to get out of this dark hole? Am I never going to be able to change? Before that, I wasn't asking questions. I was just saying, that's it. I'm in this. I'm never. And it was only as I started to ask questions, because I got so desperate, that I saw truth. I saw where I was out of covenant with the truth, and I saw the lies come to light that I had believed about myself and about who I was. And only then could my pathway head into a place where I could grow. So to finish off with today, I wanted to do some breathing. The breathing I've been doing a lot of late is called long exhale breathing. You breathe in, but I'll just breathe in and out today. And then you breathe out, but you breathe out for a longer period of time than you breathe in. So I'm going to suggest we breathe in for 4 and out for 6. A count of 4 and a count of 6. The benefits to this is that it just relaxes your body. It relaxes your parasympathetic nerve, where all of the, stuff is happening. It reduces stress, and it actually brings over your whole body a sense of calm and a sense of peace. I'm staggered at how something as simple as just breath can actually be so powerful. So as I breathe in, I always try to focus on something that my heart is wanting. My heart, sitting, I might journal first, and I might just write out what is it that my heart is wanting. And so today I want to just focus on letting our heart speak to us, because it will. I'm amazed when I work with women, they go, "Oh, I've never heard anything." And yet, the very first time that we start to ask questions, because they've postured themselves in that place of creating space for their heart, creating space to hear what their heart has to say, it's incredible how they hear what's on their heart, the things on their heart that are really crying out for attention and crying out to be heard and crying out to be seen. So, to finish off with today, I would like you just to find a spot to sit, to feet down, rest, lie down, whatever's the best, most easiest, comfortable position for you. And we're going to breathe in, and we're going to do a long exhale. So we'll breathe in for 4 and we're going to breathe out for 6. The long exhale is going to help bring you to a place of rest, of calm. It's a de-stressing sort of breathing. Sometimes you might not even be aware, but sometimes we catch our breath and then we're just like, oh. And that's what we do just naturally to bring a sense of calm and de-stress. So the long exhale, as we breathe in on the short, we're going to just ask, heart, what do I need to know? And then long exhale and listen. Listen to what you hear. What's your heart telling you? Just grab this is the water bottle. I dropped on my toe, smashed it. Anyway, I'm actually able to walk again, so that's good. Let's go. Some breathing. We just do half a dozen today, but when you practice this, do it yourself throughout the day. I now set a timer on my phone to help me, because once the day goes on and I get busy, I can get to the end of the day and think, oh, I'm tense, but I haven't actually given myself, created space to give my heart a moment just to breathe and reveal itself to me. So that's a suggestion. That is one of the strategies that I use to try and maintain that discipline of breathing. So long exhale breathing. Let's go. We're going to breathe in and we're going to ask our heart, what do I need to know? So breathing in for 4, 2, 3, 4, and ask yourself, heart, what do I need to know? Then breathe out and listen and listen and listen and lean in. Get curious. Breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in. Heart, what do I need to know? Breathe out. 1, 2, and listen and listen and listen and listen. Breathe in for 4. Heart, what do I need to know? Breathe out and listen. And breathe in. 2. Heart, what do I need to know? Breathe out and listen and listen and listen and listen. Breathe in for 4. Heart, what do I need to know? Breathe out and listen, listen, listen. One more time. Breathe in. Heart, what do I need to know? Listen, 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 listen. I already feel that sense of relaxation and calm coming over me. And while I haven't clearly heard right now, probably partly because I've been focusing on the technique and not just doing it for myself, I know that if I continue to do that maybe for another minute or so, I will start to really get some revelation. And I felt like something was simmering to the surface, but I didn't quite capture it because I didn't have enough time. So I want to recommend to you that if that was true for you right now, you've got the process, you've got the concept of the long exhale breathing. And if you take some time through the day just to create space to listen and listen and listen, to rest, bring your body, bring your heart, bring yourself into a place of rest and de-stress, you'll be amazed that you will hear. And then when I do hear, I'll get my journal and write. And I'll write and I'll write and I'll write. Sometimes I might not even need to do the breathing and I can just write. But I've been finding of late that the breathing has been really helpful to bring some revelation of what it is that's on my heart, what it is that my heart is needing, because our heart is on, it's on demand all the time. It's that control center telling us how to respond, telling us how to react. And then we get discouraged because we don't like what we see, and the garden that we grow is not beautiful and we feel discouraged and disheartened about the garden, I want to just challenge you. Take some time, create some space, get curious, ask the questions, listen to what your heart is showing you. It will show you where you're out of alignment, where you're out of agreement, where you're listening to lies and the truth needs to be replaced. It will show you. And if you find that you struggle with that, you're welcome to reach out. I am hoping to get this group going in the next few weeks. A couple of hours of joining together a community of women where we can actually support and encourage each other. Because as we are open to discussion with ourselves, when we're open to discuss with others who are in a similar space, pursuing heart restoration, beautiful gardens, ways to nurture. That's what I want this group to be about. I want it to be the restoration of a heart of a woman, your heart, my heart, ongoing for as long as it takes, probably the rest of our lives. Well, I want you to be blessed and take care. And if this encouraged you, just throw some comments in the comments. And I love to hear and love to respond to what people are sharing. Have a blessed day and a blessed week ahead, and talk to you next week.